Fine. We are up to. You didn't read yesterday. You didn't read yesterday.
I didn't, but I just heard just.
He did.
Oh, you read. You just which passage did you read?
Yes.
Because we actually had done that yesterday. Okay. Let's go on pasuk Mordechai. Pasuk Tes.
ויאמר אל עמו הנה עם בני ישראל רב ועצום ממנו.
Okay. He said to his people, behold, the people of the Bnei Yisrael Rav are more numerous, the Otzim are more powerful than us. Amen. Okay? Okay, no Rashi on that. Next pasuk. Hava nischak molo.
הובה נצחק בולו פן ירא ואויה כי סקרנה
Ki
מלחמה
sikrena milchama
נוסף גם הוא על סננו
son enu
ונלחם בנו ועולה מן הארץ.
Okay, so let's translate. Hava. That Rashi means, we're going to explain this word hava. Hava, let's deal wisely.
Oh, yeah.
Deal wisely. Let us be wise with it, meaning the people. Pen year bear, so that they do not multiply. V'hayon will be kisikrena milchama. When war will happen, the noisaf gam hu asonenu, they will be added to our enemies. Meaning, the Egyptians are around, or whatever, let's say the Canaanites attack the Egyptians, and the Jews are going to, Bnei Israel are going to ally with our enemies. And we'll be finished. Okay? Okay. B'noisav gam hu asonenu, they'll be added to our enemies, to our, those who hate us. V'nilcham bono, they will fight against us. V'olo min haaretz, and he will go out from the land. Meaning, we talk about
that they will chase us. The Israelites will chase us away.
1 second, that's not pshat. According to this pshat, Poshet pshat means the Bnei Yisrael will leave the land.
Oh, okay. Because I was studying with my son this morning and discussing.
We're going to see about this in Rashi. Okay, we're going to see about it. But Kipshuto means they will fight against us, they will join our enemies, and then they will leave the land. Okay?
I mean, we will defeat them.
Okay. So, okay, let's see Rashi here.
הובה נצחק בולו כל
Hava loshen hachana, v'hazmona ledover. Every time the word hava means get ready, be prepared. Remember for the scouts, right? Be prepared. Okay?
That's right.
Hava means, right? Kol hava, every expression of hava means is expression of hachana, preparation, hazmon, and getting ready, ledover. Kloma, hazminu atzmechem lekach. Prepare yourselves for what we have to do now to take care of this problem. Okay? Nischak moloi, right? So he uses the singular term. Let us deal wisely, loi, with him. Who's him? Rashi says that the term we expressed in the singular, meaning ay la'om, to the people. Nischak moloi, let us deal wisely, meaning let us put together an idea, ma la'asos lo.
That doesn't mean
What to do against it.
That doesn't mean they're the Mashiach. The Mashiach, because
No, 1 second. That's
part of it was the the tied in with the water. And
Rashi's first explanation means loi means referring to the people. Then Rabbi Seinu Darshu, right? Our rabbis explain Nischakim lemoshion shel Yisrael. Let's do wisely what to do with him, the individual. Who is that? The future savior of Israel. What was that? Lo dunam b'mayim. Let's judge them all the children to be born, to be thrown into the river. Okay? Now, what is that? That is, if we throw everybody into the river, for sure, Kosh Baruch Hu is not going to punish us. Means he's not going to punish us measure for measure.
Right, he promised there wouldn't be a flood anymore.
Shekvar nishba.
Yeah.
Shlo Yavi Mabul Olam. He's already made an oath that he's not going to bring a Mabul to the world. Right? Which is, it's amazing how stupid, if we think about it, the Egyptians were. What do you mean? Because they think they can get away with killing all the Jewish babies by drowning them in the river. Now, Kosh Baruch Hu can't do anything to us because he's already promised he's not going to bring a flood to the world. And then you look at in the parentheses here, the Hebrew Yevinu, they didn't understand. Shall Kol Olam Eino Mevi. Kosh Baruch Hu is not going to bring against the entire world. You can bring against one nation. The Maisa, when the end of the Kosh Baruch Hu punished the Egyptians for that? They haven't thrown
in the Dead Sea.
right in the Reed Sea.
In the sense the waves breached all over Egypt.
Sorry?
The waves flooded the whole of Egypt.
That I don't know. There is a different. There is an opinion that it went as far.
No, but the thing
The
is that
assumption did affect the actual
Was
land
it
of Egypt
tsunami?
itself.
Was this tsunami, huh?
No,
It was
they
usually
split. So when you drink
counterintuitive
water, it
because
split.
they could flood
Split
every
in
few
600
years
volts.
that are
Yeah,
really
yeah.
huge
600
floods, and
volts
they
is high.
actually had a dam
Right,
system,
right.
which sometimes even worked to that they wouldn't get flooded out. The capital Thebes, they actually build dams to divert the water. So I don't know how. It's kind of counterintuitive. How could they say that they wouldn't get
I
flooded
don't
out?
know. You see, a person.
Since it wasn't under their control, because it's like a wadi.
It's very interesting. A person doesn't believe in God. Sure, he thinks I can get away with it, but they actually believe that the God of the Jews would repay them measure for measure. So what they think? Oh yeah, got you there, one God of the Jews. We got you there. All right, you can't do anything. Ha ha! We're going to kill the Jews, and you're not going to be able to fight back. That's what it sounds like.
Well, that's what it sounds like.
But obviously that was pretty foolish on their part. I mean, we've had other people like that. I mean, who else do we find that way?
Titus.
Haman also.
Oh,
They say he's
wow.
old. They say Hashem is old.
Yeah, no, all these kind of things. Okay. Now, next Rashi. Va'olam min haaretz. Okay? He will
Watch
go
out
out
when you
from the
say
land.
overrounding.
Which means the nation will go out from the land. Al korchenu, against our will. Meaning, we are very happy to have the Jews staying here.
To build the buildings.
Well, they weren't slaves yet, don't forget.
Oh,
But they are adding to a
wealth.
positive contribution to our commerce, to our wealth.
Definitely.
Rule the world like the Muslims.
Okay? So, but what we're afraid, you know what? They're going to just go out en masse, right? When there comes a war, they're going to join our allies, and they're going to leave against our will.
Muslims rule the world.
Okay? That's the first explanation. So, Va'olam min haaretz. Va'olam min haaretz.
Tell me, we're going to put you in the corner. You want to go sit in the corner? You stay in the corner?
I telling him that he shouldn't go.
I think it's like the Muslims. We don't have it in America. They're ruling the world. They rule the world. They're like
The Muslims,
not in America, but in Europe, they're
whatever.
takeover.
Whatever. This is a discussion for another time. Okay? Now we're learning the Chumash.
Like the Jews, I'm saying like the Jews. They
Okay.
got this thought.
Va'olam min haaretz. So the Egyptians were afraid that the Jews are going to leave the land without their permission, against their will. And they were not very happy about that. That's according to the first explanation. Rabbi Seinu Dorshu, our rabbis explained, Ka'odam shemekalel atzmoi, person who curses himself, and he attaches the curse to others. So
Does that mean that the Egyptians actually cursed themselves by keeping the
V'harekilu kosav, because if it's written, Va'olinu min haaretz, and we will have to go out from the land. The Haim Yeshua, and they're going to take over. They're going to take over the land and drive us out.
Well, that's what I had said in the first.
Right, that's the second explanation. But Rabbi saying Udosh, that's the second explanation which Rashi gives. The reason Pashas why Rashi brings two explanations is because, according to the first explanation, big deal. So the Jews are going to leave. That's the reason to enslave them or whatever. Akoponim, so according to the second explanation, the danger was much more apparent because the Egyptians themselves didn't want to be driven out of their own land. So therefore, they now wanted to find, let's come up with some solution, some plan, some scheme, whereby we'll be able to neutralize the Jews.
Right, keep them working, right.
Okay.
Steve.
Steve, next person, Yud Aleph.
Vayisimu Allah, Sarei, Nisim, Laman, Anoto, and Siblotam. Vayiven, Are, Niskano, Naharo, Et Pitom, Yet Ramses. So, and they levied upon them.
Very good.
Like
Sorry,
that, and
missing.
lots of taxes.
Sorry are actually officers, missing of taxes,
Officers,
tax officers.
Tax
But
officers.
you, as you're going to see, you levied about they were levy officers because the levy it wasn't actually a monetary tax; it was a physical tax that they put taxing work upon them.
Actually, they should have hired the ladies to do it because it's the same name, the custom.
Anyway.
And it's not really a joke. It's like having your own people, and they say, "Oh no, that's okay. If our own people are doing it, then it's like going
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, in order, for the sake of Anoto, to make them suffer,
Afflict them.
afflict them, make them suffer, and
The
so
Sivlo
that
Som.
they should build
No building. But Sivlo
Event.
Som with their burdens.
with their burdens, and they would build cities.
No, they did. Even they
built
built.
cities.
Ore
Oh,
Miskanos.
okay, they built
What are Ore Miskanos?
storehouse cities.
Right, store cities. The
Cities
Pharaoh.
for Pharaoh, and for instance, Pitom,
Not for instance.
Ziet,
Pisom as Ramses. Right? Pitom
them.
and Ramses. By the way, there were two cities, not to be, this city is not to be mixed up with Ramesses. If you have in the end of in Parshas Vayigash, right? It says there that there was a city of Ramses, right?
up the river or something.
No, which was in the land of Goshen. That is written, Reish Ayin, it's written exactly the same way, but the Nikudot, the vowels underneath are different. There, it's underneath the ayin there's a shva, right? And that means you have to read it Ra-Meses. Okay? That's what it was for, where the thing's Ramses. Ramesses. Right, that was in the land of Goshen. And here, these are store cities, this was called Ramses.
But when they were building Goshen also, weren't they?
These two cities were not necessarily Goshen, no.
I think that they found vestiges, because otherwise they would have to move the Jews, which would be a sensible thing, to the inner part of Egypt in order to have better control over them.
Could be transfer if they were done in the
Population transfer is a long-honored tradition to kind of
to
make,
weaken the people.
right. So maybe you're right. Maybe so.
Okay. So let's see the Rashi here. Vayasimu Olov, says Rashi.
Okay.
You have it? Sixth line. The first column, sixth line. Where it says Yud Aleph. You have the
Yeah, it
Yud,
says Allah.
right?
Al-Ha'an, on the people.
Right. Now Rashi's explaining over here that they placed upon, literally means upon him, singular.
Right.
Rashi explains that doesn't mean, it means the singular term is used when we're talking about the nation in
The
its
nation
entirety.
as a whole. Right.
Right, as a whole.
Okay. Misim, Lashon Mas, in the
Expression
language
of tax.
taxes. Sarim, She Govin, Mehem,
Hamas. These were
who
officers who levied upon them
levied
the which is not more just they actually claimed the tax. They enforced the tax. And what was the tax? Umahu Hamas.
Rahu Hamas, She Yivnu, Are, Miskinot, the power to make them build these cities of the storehouse.
Right, was the tax
For the payroll.
was that they should build these store cities for Pharaoh. So
Okay.
each person had to contribute. I mean, like they have jury service, right? sometimes, or public service. A person has to work, generally do it to offenders.
Right,
So
right.
they have public service.
Which is
Here, this
okay.
wasn't to offenders, this was to all the Jews across the board. They had to, they enslaved them to that they had to carry out physical labor as a, each person had to fulfill his quota of physical labor, which he had to do on behalf of the government.
Mm.
Okay, Leman, and next one. Leman anoisa, in order to afflict him,
Afflict him with the suffering.
the sivloi so,
Shall Mitzrayim
right, with the burdens of the Mitzrim, of the Egyptians. Now what Rashi means is as follows. In every country you have, there's menial tasks which have to be carried out. Heavy work, or menial tasks or whatever thing. So who's going to do it? So generally you have many countries who've got guest workers who do it, or the lower
Filipinos.
classes, there's very minimum pay,
Gypsies,
Filipinos.
Mexicans.
right, sticks, okay, you
Filipino.
name it.
Especially, yeah, whatever you use that term.
Right, sticks, what is it, Schwarzes as well now.
Filipinos.
Right, all these, in
You're
Europe,
not supposed to use yids.
in Europe
Polish.
there was a concept that was
Polish.
called Gastarbeiter,
Sorry?
right?
What?
Is that job sorry?
Guest workers. I mean, in
Yeah.
Germany it was known that they brought Arabs, Turks.
But there were also, during the 20s, a lot of 100,000 Jews were guest workers in Germany.
Okay.
That could be as well. But also in America, that's in the
And
sweatshops.
they drove them out
Right.
and they didn't know what to do because the four of them were taken back.
But that was Hitler Maximilian before just before the
Right,
Second World
but
War.
anyway, yeah, there's a history of, people willing to work for very little in order to get a start somewhere else.
That was the spark that King set off Kristallnacht. You know what Kristallnacht was?
Yeah, well sure, because Grispan,
Right, so assassinated some low diplomat, but it was a good enough excuse.
half
Or a
heart,
shoe cup.
Third secretary or something like that.
of the embassy in Paris.
Right. He
Wow.
wanted to, he wanted to kill him.
Because he was angry that the
His
Polish
parents had been
Jews
deported.
had
His parents had who was of Polish
People
descent.
tried to
had been
assassinate Hitler before and couldn't succeed.
Everything, a Kosh Baruch Hu allows things to happen. Kosh Baruch Hu has a master plan and
He's the boss.
he's the boss.
Hitler
Okay.
was like ISIS.
I don't know, you can't compare. I think so. Ori Miskanes, it's very interesting that the way Hitler and Maximai acted was the way of Esau and Amalek. It was in a form of systematic thing. Ishmael doesn't attack in such a way. Ishmael attacks us in a hit and run form. And that's the way you see the Arabs attack.
Yeah, but it was spread out over so many years that people didn't realize how bad it was getting, and people got accustomed to each level of
Whatever.
suffering. Like here in Egypt, I mean,
Right.
people say, "Oh, sure,
Right.
national service." No, I think we said that last year. National
Right.
service is no problem.
Right,
You
they
know,
wanted to
but
be
then
shown
they
they're
got
very
to-
patriotic.
Right.
Right.
But then they said, well, you got to stay 24/7 and sleep on the job, and not just for a couple months. We're going to stretch this thing out.
If you think about it, it's
this
absolutely
and that.
phenomenal. Do you know how long there were various stages
Yep.
in the servitude which the Jewish people had to suffer? First stage was, this was mashma from the Psukim in the beginning of Parshas Vayechi. As soon as Yaakov Avinu died, the Jews lost their privileged status. They were not enslaved yet, but they lost their privileged status.
Mm.
Okay, that's as long as, but still, Yosef and all his brothers were still alive.
Right.
Okay? Let's work it out. I don't even tell you how many years difference it was. 6, 147. What was Yosef when his father died? Yosef was 56 when his father died. So it was another 54 years till Yosef died, and then another 22 years after that. 54 and 22.
If you put in 22 and 76. and we add up the years.
54 years,
The
70s.
Yaakov,
That's after another 17.
19,
Another 17,
years.
add to that another 17.
93.
93, that's right. So it's 107, 93 years after the Jews came to Mitzrayim, that's when the actual slave status was imposed upon them.
Right.
Servant status. It doesn't necessarily mean the hard labor started yet, but they became slaves. They had a lower apartheid, right? If you want to say apartheid, there was already
Right, but
apartheid was
they had gotten used to
instituted against the Jews.
each level.
Right.
They got used to, and
Well, anyway, so that was the thing. That lasted altogether. Altogether, the Jews were in Egypt for 210 years. So take away 93, it was 117 years. 117 years they had a slave status. Then, 86 years, it says when Miriam was born, I was going to see in a couple of psukim, by Yamoru es Chayem, they embittered their lives. That's why she was called Miriam. Because she was born at that time when the embitterment started. Okay? That was 86 years before the Jews left Egypt. So for 86 years they were subject to hard labor. Pretty much, it's pretty amazing. For a nation to survive in a foreign land and constantly be subjected to hard labor. 86 years.
right. The men were away most of the time. Wasn't easy.
Right. Okay?
But see, people can get used to stuff.
Right? But anyway, here it says that that's what the Apostle is telling us. To afflict them with their burdens, meaning the Egyptians had burdens which they were not keen themselves on doing. Right? The heavy labor, the menial tasks. So who did they put them on? They imposed it upon the Jews. The Jews had to do all the menial tasks, all the hard labor.
Right?
That was the affliction over here. Okay? Ore Miskinos, carry on the Rashi, Katargumoi.
Let me see.
Ore Miskinos, you have it? It's 5 lines.
Yes, right. Store cities.
Katargumoi. Its meaning is as the Targum translates it. How does the Targum translate it? Kirvei Beis, sorry, just 1 second, Shoma. No, Kirvei Beis, sorry, more than cities of store cities.
Didn't they already have? Yosef built this.
Well, we'll see in a second. Right, go to this.
Go
to this Sochen, which means like the officer in charge of provisions.
Who's the treasurer?
Gizbar Hamamuna ala
Treasurer of the money.
Of the one who was the treasurer who was
treasury.
Itzaras means of the storehouses.
Oh,
He was the Gizbar, the treasurer who was in charge of the Itzaras, the storehouse. Right. Okay? Now it says they built store cities as Pisem as Ramses.
Right.
Okay, now Rashi's got an interesting point. Rashi says,
Hayu
Ru'ues mitchila lekach.
Mitchila lekach. Va'asa'um. Chazakot. Surot. La'otzar. But they weren't fitting in the beginning
For this,
to do so.
for lekach means for this purpose. These towns originally existed. They did exist in Pisem and Ramses, but now, as a result of Pharaoh's decree, they were converted into store cities. And there are some, that's what they made them, chazokas, strong, with tzuras and fortified.
They fortified the walls.
Right, lo'oitza, in order to make it into a store city. Now, where does Rashi get it from? The Farshim explain is because normally when he said, they should have said they built store cities for Pharaoh and they called them Pisem and Ramses. It just says, it seems that they built store cities for Pharaoh, Pisem and Ramses. There's mashma that they didn't need to call names to these cities, the names already existed. So this implies that the cities already existed.
Right, so they
Just they were,
Pitom and Ramses.
right, just they refurbished, right, they converted these cities into store cities.
So it was kind of a public works project.
Do you know where it is today, these places?
Yeah. I think they located them. And I think the
Well, I mentioned before,
Aaron
this is
goes-
not to be mixed up. There's Ramses, right? Ramesses, and this is Ramses. Okay?
Right, I think you're right. Ramses was a later king or an earlier king or something like that served a long time. And Egypt was very powerful. This is a different thing.
Could be, I don't know. Anyway, this all fits in
70
history,
years
I
is a
don't know.
nice reign. 70 years.
Okay,
So the
possibly-
who built the pyramids?
I don't know. There's some say that the Jews built the pyramids, but I'm not sure.
It
The
took a
Lamai
long
says
time
it's
to
a
build a pyramid.
phenomenal technical feat
Hmm?
to build the pyramids. Do you know why?
Why?
Because you know what holds up all the four walls? The top stone all the way on top.
Yeah.
So how did they get the walls up then?
Well, they built everything in steps.
Yeah,
And
so,
then they covered over
so how
with
did they
lime-
get
with
that
lime- with
scaffolding
limestone.
inside?
They had engineering beyond, I don't know.
I know, that's one of the technical wonders of the world, how they built the pyramids.
Well, there's a theory, with, bridges, the weight, or churches for that matter. The churches
When you ever have an arch,
that the
with
weight,
arches, right.
that the weight goes right on that cornerstone there, and on the set stone, you can raise against that.
Right.
And
That's how
then
that's the
whole
principle
thing
of
up.
tunnels. They build tunnels that way.
Right.
Right?
So I'm saying,
Why they build arch? Because this way it can take much more, but all the weight of the earth on top.
right, but then the interiors, I think about the interiors of these, they had multiple levels, and they had storerooms, and because it was supposed to be for the Pharaoh, just like he was living above ground, and so everything was brought down, so there was a regular system inside. And that too was a miracle. But that they started building these things when the Pharaoh was appointed. He already started. Isn't that something to think about this?
I don't know. Anyway, this is one of the amazing
But
things.
anyway, that's one of the.
Okay.
So who built the pyramids? They must be very good engineers, right? Egyptians.
Right. So
They were fantastic.
You should couple.
Okay.
They were fantastic engineers.
Yisrael, Pasuk Yud Beis.
Yudbet, kasher ya'anu oisa.
V'cha
Kasher
asher
ya'anu oisa. Ken yubet.
chen yifroitz. Vayakutsu mipnei b'nei Yisrael. Chasher yanu eseh. As much as they would afflict him, Kain Yirba, so he would, literally he means the people, would multiply, Kain Yifroitz, and so they would spread.
Yakutsu.
Vayakutsu, and the Egyptians became sickened, B'nei Israel, as a result of the B'nei Israel. We can't take it anymore. Can't bear it. Every go the Jews. Up,
Right.
down, all around.
Up, down, all around.
Well, like Chinese,
Depends where you are. But this is the situation in the land of Egypt, that the Jews were just multiplying and spreading everywhere. And wherever you turned, there were Jews. Okay. So Rashi's going to explain. Asher ya'anu Esai.
Kasher ya'anu
No, so
oisa.
Rashi's got a question. What it means? It sounds as like because they afflicted them, that caused them to reproduce. So Rashi explains yes.
B'chol ma she'hei.
They noistim leiv la'anois, just as much as they put their mind and efforts to afflict the Jewish people. Kain leiv HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'har b'yis l'hafetz. So the heart of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which means its intention, was to make the Jewish people increase and spread. Okay? So therefore, in this sense, it's all in the future. Because Rashi's bothered, it should have said, V'chasher anu oisoi, Kain robo v'chein poratz. Right? It was in the past tense. What's in the future tense? V'chasher ya'anu oisoi, right? In the future, they would afflict him, so they would multiply and
And that's the very
spread.
thing they made him.
So Rashi explains that sometimes you have this as well by the Shira, for instance, it says that they, when you use the future term, means that a person has an intention to do something, he has had the intention already, then you use the future tense to express that, because his intention hasn't necessarily been put into actually physical action.
Right.
Okay? So that's what according to Rashi's first explanation means. Right? So as they would means they had intended to afflict them, so Kodesh Baruch Hu, his intention was to make them increase and spread. Davar Acher, second explanation. Kain Yirbe, what is Kain Yirbe? So they would increase, means Kain Rava, so they increased.
Even more probably.
Right? And they spread. Who made Rasha? You're reading from
Yeah, but Rasha, Ruach HaKodesh Omer.
This came means that the Kodesh Baruch Hu answered. Chasher Yanu Esoi, so Kodesh Baruch Hu. Atem Haimrim, you Egyptians say,
Ken Yirbe.
Pen Yirbe, so that they do not increase. Va'ani Omer, I responded to that. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Kain Yirbe,
They won't.
they for sure will increase.
Oh.
Okay, now Vayakutsu means they became sick. Mipnei Bnei Yisrael, exactly.
Sickened of their
They
lives.
got sick of their lives. It means like, listen, lakutz means to be like, want to puke, right, want to
Yesh
throw
Mefosh.
up, okay? So they're called, this first explanation,
Yesh Mefosh.
kotzu b'chayim, means they became sick of their lives. Yesh mefarshim, ha-mitzrim be'enei atzmon. That the mitzrim became sick of themselves in their own eyes. Meaning they can, what have we done over here? We're so fools, and like they were kicking themselves for allowed the Jews to come
In the
and
first place.
right.
The Kotzim Hoyvene, the Lachons and Aras.
Seinu Dolsha. Both rabbis explain, "Kakotzim hoyu beineihem." Right? Vayakutsu means they were like stuck as thorns because of the Bnei Israel. That the Jewish people were like thorns in their eyes. Couldn't get rid of them. Like constantly, how should we say, digging, pricking them. Right? It was like the actual. Every time they saw a Jew around, it was like a prick of a thorn.
Was it true that nobody could leave Egypt naturally?
That was yes. That's what it says. They had special dogs, which wouldn't let people go.
What, vicious dogs?
Vicious, sure, very vicious.
Or big ones?
I don't know the size. I'm not sure. But
Well,
it says later that the
had magic
Kodesh Baruch Hu
spells.
specially made that these dogs couldn't. When the Jews left Egypt, these dogs were silent.
How many dogs were there?
I have no idea. Okay.
So nobody could run over to the boundaries.
No.
They also had magic spells on the borders.
It's probably, I don't know. Yud Gimel, Pasuk, Mordechai, have another go. It's time for one more Pasuk.
So just one more question.
Yeah, you're asking, yes?
How did Ephraim get out of Egypt? And
Very good question. I'm not sure, but they managed to circumvent these dogs. And the Maisa, in the end, was that
That they were defeated anyway.
right,
Because they left to the road.
they became the dry bones, according to some opinion.
Oh.
You know, the dry bones later on in the Cheskel,
Right,
these were the bones of the Bnei Ephraim who left Egypt early.
You know
Okay,
the song, don't you?
Pasuk Yud Gimel. Vayavidu Mitzrayim
Mitzrayim is Bnei Yisrael.
Beforach. Right, the
Right,
Egyptians
definitely.
enslaved the Bnei Yisrael Beforach with back-breaking labor. That's what Rashi's going to explain. What is Beforach? Ba'avoida kosher, with hard labor, hamafareches es haguf, which breaks the body,
And the
umshabarta,
spirit.
crashes it.
Yeah, but they want to break the spirit. They don't break body and spirit.
Body, right. But it was like real back-breaking labor. Okay.
Dragging those stones up the hill, boy. To the
Okay, I think we're going to stop here.